Well, hello. You know what? I just realized starting off with an Obi-Wan Kenobi level intro while slowly unzipping my jacket is a bit steamy of an introduction, but I figured, I should dress for the occasion. I found this NASA dry fit at a thrift store, and I was like, yo, that's a perfect fit for a Mass Effect video. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mass Effect news to get into today, to say the least. We have a speculative release window. We have some insane theory crafting ongoing thanks to the poster that BioWare had released on N7 Day 2023. We have tons of story theories going on now. We have characters from the old Mass Effect trilogy potentially making a return. Like, there's some crazy stuff ongoing here. I have many thoughts, but before anything else gets too spicy here, I don't know, maybe you're like a fan of spicy food or food in general. Let's talk about today's sponsor, shall we? The following video is brought to you by Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. So if you're too busy to cook this fall and you want to make sure you're eating well, keeping that diet in check, then this is a good way to go. For me, I've been making sure I'm steadily going to the gym, working the cardio every day, been watching some anime while I'm doing it, and now I get to skip the grocery store, skip the chopping, prepping, cleaning up, and just get straight to the flavor, straight to the nutritional quality that I need. And you can adjust your stride this autumn without really missing a step by relishing in a lot of fall flavors with limited time meals like cranberry pecan chicken and apple Dijon pork chops. What I'm having here is herb crusted chicken with mashed cauliflower and toasted almond green beans, and oh my god, it is unfair how good it is. Now let's say you're looking for something more calorie conscious during the busy season, then you could try the dietitian approved calorie smart meals, which are around 550 calories or less per serving. Factor's been a big part of the channel for the last few months now. You know I'm all about them, so if you're interested, head to factor75.com or click the link down below and use the code MattyPlays50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, you're into Mass Effect news, conversations, Mike Gamble writes something on a napkin in the middle of a diner, I'm gonna be covering it, you're in the right place, consider subscribing. So the Mass Effect news that's taken the world by storm is the release window speculation. Now this comes via Giant Bomb, where my man Jeff Grubb has been talking about when we may get the next Mass Effect game, and we all expected it to be a ways off, but we're hearing 2029. So I'm going to let the clip speak for itself, and then I will offer my thoughts on the matter.
People, you want some original reporting? This game is just nowhere near coming out.
Oh, no trouble.
I was told, so when they announced, or when they revealed Dragon Age Dreadwolf in 2018, this is similar in terms of timeline, where that was announced in 2018, and we're not getting that game till maybe next year. So now do the math for that, and we're talking 2029 for Mass Effect 5.
Dog, this game is... I've heard some things as well, and this game is so far away.
It is so far away.
In another galaxy right now.
That crashing sound you just heard was me falling to my knees here in this office. Why, BioWare? Will we actually be waiting till 2029? Maybe, possibly. Here, I got some thoughts on both sides of the fence. All right, so first and foremost, let's look at the math, right? Jeff mentioned the window from Dreadwolf to the release of Dreadwolf is roughly the same for the window from the reveal of Mass Effect to the release of Mass Effect. Okay, got it, good. So when you look at when Dragon Age Dreadwolf was revealed, this was at the Game Awards, December 6th, 2018. Now, it is currently under the assumption that this game will come out next year. And if I were a betting man, I would feel like Dragon Age Dreadwolf is going to drop a new trailer at this year's Game Awards to start the hype train, get people prepared for all of the stuff they're going to show next year. That is just my guess though, right? Based off what we know, thanks to an EA earnings call, where Dragon Age Dreadwolf won't be releasing until at least after the first quarter of next year, to me puts it as a fall 2024 title, and I think that would be fitting because it gives it enough time to get polished up after being reworked multiple times. Keep in mind that also Dragon Age Dreadwolf kind of got re-revealed multiple times too, because it was originally a live service game that was called basically Anthem with Dragons and was moved into a much more intimate single player focused game that's been tearing out the live service roots since. So you're looking at what may be a 6-year gap, right, between reveal and release. Now, if you apply it to Mass Effect, the next Mass Effect game, or Mass Effect 5, was announced again at the Game Awards December 10th, 2020. So when you look at the math for Dragon Age Dreadwolf and then you apply it here to Mass Effect, it is suggesting that, you know what, this could be a 2026 game. So here's how I'm looking at it, because like part of it's in my brain rationalizing and coping, but then the other half is like, well, game development reality. On the rationalization part, I look at all of the teasing they're doing year in, year out for N7 Day, and BioWare always has a lot of fun in N7 Day. That's been no different any other year. But with the teasing and how heavy it's been, and now like a pretty much firm introduction of the main character, just we don't know who it is, building that mystery at least 2 years running now. It's hard to imagine, even though the crew for Mass Effect is really small, that they're doing all of this when the story may not be delivered until 7 years from now. Because BioWare should know better than anybody. Stories get rewritten constantly. 90% of writing is rewriting, is some advice I got recently, and it's words to live by in the creative field. So I feel like BioWare wouldn't be this foolish to commit to things like Liara, N7 appearances, this mystery new main character, and the connection to the Andromeda Galaxy if they didn't plan to do something pretty big with all of that within the realm of something being kind of soon of the, I'd say, next half decade. At the same time, that could be me coping, because game development reality suggests this. Right now, BioWare's full force should be on Dragon Age Dreadwolf. You need to nail that game, absolutely. And as someone who adores Dragon Age, I want that game to be not just good, but incredible, right? I am pulling for this team. I am sending them the spirit bomb, all of my energy right to Edmonton. They got it all, man. However, with a all hands on deck approach that every game does, you now have people being pulled away. What little team is on Mass Effect getting pulled away from that to Dreadwolf. And then after Dreadwolf's out, you scale up. And I don't think suddenly that Mass Effect is just going to come together like that, where based off the timeline Jeff is proposing to us, we're talking 2 years, potentially 3 years maybe after Dragon Age Dreadwolf. And if you look at the last 2 games that BioWare has done, each of them have taken beyond half a decade. Anthem, Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I mean, the gaps have been seismic for this studio, and I want them to shorten that pipeline big time. So I hope they do that, because that would be best for them. That'd be best for business. And I think that would keep them in business, as EA, you know, they're just looming over them. Like, and I worry sometimes about, after what happened with Visceral, some type of hasty chopping down, and we see so many layoffs in our industry, and I know BioWare has been no stranger to that. So I just worry a bit about if they miss here, can they even make it to the next Mass Effect? That Dreadwolf needs to be a slam dunk. But yeah, either way, the wait for the next Mass Effect is going to be long. I think most people understood that, but seeing the date in fine print definitely was some cause for concern. But there's a difference between what I'm telling you, which is like, hey, if it's on the right trajectory, 2026 maybe, which is a 3-year wait, versus what Jeff is saying, which could be up to a 6-year wait. And if it pushes to 2027, then I would assume that the next Mass Effect game is a next generation game, because that's when we're all anticipating the next wave of consoles will come out, given the usual 7-ish year cycle they go through. So yeah, Mass Effect is in a interesting position now. It's kind of funny watching BioWare handle it this way versus Elder Scrolls 6, which is like another highly anticipated game that's very far away, where you only get interview snippets from Todd Howard that have things like, oh, we want to make it the ultimate fantasy simulator, and you don't get much beyond that. Whereas BioWare's like, here's story details and characters, much of what we're going to get into next year. It's one of those moments where I'm coping a little bit, but I also feel like it could come sooner than we typically expect. But I'll be interested to get your thoughts on when you think the next Mass Effect may arrive. For me, my head, and if I'm BioWare and their management team, like, just focus on getting Dreadwolf right, because that will restore a lot of confidence in anything you do next. Now, after all of this, I really want to talk about tons and tons of theories that have been getting tossed around the Mass Effect community. So we speculated a lot on N7 Day who could be that figure within the N7 armor. And much of the comments were quick to point out, like, since N7 is a military force for the Systems Alliance, that only could be a human character, contrary to some of my Liara speculation. Definitely a fair point, and I'm not saying this to cover my own butt. I just feel like with the big gap that's happening here and this talk of human defiance, I wonder if there's changes to how they handle certain programs within the system alliance and so on and so forth. But I totally get where the feedback was coming from. And one thing that Mike Gamble has been saying a lot is like, not everything's as it seems. And then he even mentioned this here, which caused a lot of people to really start digging, is they still haven't found the other part, the one I was afraid of them finding. Whew. You know, you see that, you're like, Mike, come on, bro, just let us be ignorant, man. You know, we're going to see this and go, all right, dig back in. What is it that he is talking about right now? And so we're going to look at some pickups that fans across the Mass Effect community have made, because some of them are tremendously exciting. Given the very almost evil look of this character in the poster, some have thought that not everything as it seems means we're being introduced to the main villain of the game. Upon blowing up some of the imagery within this concept art / poster, you'll see here that this absolutely has to be Garrus, just because of that iconic eyepiece he has on the left eye. This has to be Garrus, right? So what's he doing at what looks to be the Afterlife, right? This is where we all think it's set, which there's a theory attached to that. But I see Garrus there. Okay, that's another character from the original crew. We already know Liara is there. Now we're seeing Garrus. There are other Asari within this bar. Some people believe this is the Elusive Man on the left, which would be kind of crazy. I don't know about that. Or it could also be like Ryder. There's a lot of theories of who is in here, but at least we have Garrus as a pretty definitive one. Now this one may require a bit of squinting, but I believe we're looking at an Angara and an Asari talking, but more importantly is who's to the right, which looks to me like the Geth. And this connects to one of the images where there's a crater that also too looks like the Geth. And so naturally the brain starts spinning again. What is happening here? I saw one really good theory on Reddit that I specifically wanted to call out here. Now, I guess spoiler warning. There's a new picture here showing literally Omega of Life, right? The Afterlife, which is again the bar that you know and love from Mass Effect 2. However, they propose that those who are in this photo, the Afterlife, are dead now. And many people have made note of Liara looking a little bit older in the original Mass Effect reveal trailer. And if she's older as a matriarch, that's hundreds of years. Now, given that there's this interaction with Mass Effect Andromeda that we now have pretty much confirmed, I mean, it was already kind of confirmed in the first trailer, but now we see it visually verbalized. Okay, Andromeda, something's happening there. They have the year 2819. That's about 600 years after Mass Effect 3. So Liara could be alive and kicking, but what about everybody else, right? So the timeline is the most confusing part of it all, but there's so many theories, and I thought this was one worth proposing, which is like a very harrowing tale for many about like, no, all your favorite characters, except a few, are gone. I also saw this great theory here because it seems like people are finding something within the image itself. Some are seeing a bit of the Paragon Renegade system. This could actually be a little bit of a tease potentially, because remember that one of the, I think, mistakes that Andromeda made was getting rid of the Paragon and Renegade system. So this could be a kind of coy way of teasing that. I would love to see that personally come back. There's nothing better than punching the reporter in the face and all the other out-of-pocket things that Shepard can do. On top of that, some people feel like they're seeing a face when you rotate it a certain way, like it looks like someone's head. Is this like a man, a main villain? I struggle to see it, but many people are saying like this actually might be someone within the image itself. A couple other clues were picked up, such as the parts of the teaser trailer all using different music, and also at the very tail end of this trailer, there is almost this on-screen code that appears, which no one's really figured out what it is, and it's possible it's just some type of graphical issue, rendering issue. But given that it's such a well thought out ARG at this point, you can't overlook something like that. But right now, nobody has a true idea of what exactly it is we're looking at. So yeah, these Mass Effect theories, this news is getting insane, man. Like there's so much crazy stuff going on. Naturally, it's going to slow down as we wait for Dragon Age, but this has been a really fun N7 day, and this is all stuff worth keeping in mind for the next N7 day or the next Mass Effect info drop I'm very curious what they do next year, given that, again, if Dreadwolf is a holiday title, how they balance all of the Mass Effect teases while also making sure that Dreadwolf gets a lot of attention. It could be a really fun time next year for BioWare fans. Hopefully they deliver, so we'll see. But I wanted to share all this fun stuff with you today. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.